Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started in your career? How did your career begin?
Wow. How did my career begin? Let me see. I kind of told a little white lie. That's kind of how it started. I was in radio really young. I think I was 17, and I got my first job doing overnights on the weekends at a local radio station in my hometown. And it wasn't until I'd moved around a bit and ended up in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I guess I was in my early 20s, maybe 21, and 20. No, it was after that, mid-20s. And I was hired to do a slot on the local radio station, LG73. It was, hit music when radio was way more important. Well, I mean, it's important now, very important now. But it was a bigger deal back then because we weren't streaming stuff on the internet.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure has. But there was I took a commercial modeling course, which sounds kind of goofy because I was part of the morning show, so I was up at 4:30 every morning, and I would be done by 10 a.m., so I'd have all day. So I was kind of bored, so I took this. There was a modeling component, which was kind of goofy, but the commercial part of it was learning lines and acting in front of a camera doing commercials, and I'd never really thought about that. And I did a few classes, and my agent at the time, he was my agent for a while, and my very first agent, I drove him home one night. He says, "You should consider doing this for a living, or doing more of this." And I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." He said, "I'm now an agent. I can get you out there, and if you want." I said, "Sure, yeah, why not?" He said, "Well, go home and think about it." He said, "No, I thought about it. Let's just do this." So it was probably about maybe, I don't know, a couple of months after that he called me and said, "Hey, do you know how to do voices?" And I said, "Well, I don't, sure." I mean, I didn't know what he was talking about. I was on the morning show and doing things like, "Howdy, boys and girls, it's Cowboy Dick," and playing songs, and there was Constable Bob and all these characters on the show. I wasn't him, but it was we were all doing kind of goofy stuff and voices, and I thought, sure, I can do voices. I didn't know. And he said, "Well, there's an audition for G.I. Joe, and it's Deke Animation, and I can get you in to see them." And I go, "Really? Like, is this a cartoons?" And he said, "Yeah, like it's a cartoon." "Yeah, I know G.I. Joe." I said, "Sure." So I went in. I had no idea about anything. There was this, scripts, and I went in. There's people on the other side of the glass, and I was reading for General Hawk, and I read for a bunch of characters. Even who was the character? What was his name? Chris Latta did the main bad guy. Joe, he was like this.
Oh, Cobra Commander? Cobra
Commander. Chris was just freaking amazing. And I read for that. I read for a bunch of different roles, and then the director, his name was Paul, I believe, said, can you try General Hawk for us? We haven't quite found it. I said, "Oh, okay." So I picked up the sides, and it was like, "Yo, Joe, follow me toward the danger." That's I just did this sort of thing. I was young, and I didn't think I was very good at much of anything. And literally, I think I was skiing. It was like a month or maybe even 6 weeks later, and I just sort of forgot about the audition. And I had a call from my agent say, "Listen, I have a call back. Can you get to the studio this afternoon?" Which was, at that time, I live in Los Angeles, but at that time I was living in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And it was way across the other side of the bridge from them. And I was skiing in the morning. I was skiing. And I got down on the gondola from Grouse Mountain, and I couldn't find my car keys. And I said, "Oh no, I've lost my zipper on the jacket was open, and I swear I put them." Anyway, I went to the base gondola and said, I got to get, I've lost my keys. And they said, your keys have like a yellow tag on them? I go, yeah. So they're coming down to the gondola right now. Somebody saw them, and I go, oh, wow. So just think about that, Trey. I'm on a ski, and Grouse Mountain, it's a ski hill. It's a, you know, I mean, there's lots of space, and people ski. Somebody saw, I don't know, picked them up. I don't know how, but this bright yellow neon-type tag must have caught their eye. So here my keys are coming down, and of all the space up there in the mountain, somebody found them, and I got them, and I got to the audition just in time, and I went in, and they had me read again for General Hawk, and lo and behold, I got the role. So that's the story about how it started. And that was 1989.
Wow.
I guess. And I'm looking at my I have a G.I. Joe. I have a G.I. Joe here, General Hawk. It's not my voice on the toy, but it's an old one. I got a few of them in here. But that's how it all started. And then I wanted to quit radio, and I just wanted to concentrate on doing, you know, acting and television and cartoons. That was like that was my love now. That was it. That sort of broke the ice.
Absolutely. Yeah, voiceovers are very interesting and fun to do. I've done a few, nothing big, but, you know, it's always fun to do a character voice. You can be anybody you want. That's the cool thing. It's so fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My next question to you is, what do you find is the most challenging part or the most difficult part for you being a voice actor in the industry?
Well, that's a good question. I guess early on in my career when, you know, if I didn't get something, I would question, and I would you know, I would let it bother me. Now that I've been in the business for a while and I'm older, so I forget about it as soon as I read it and send it. And that's just the, you know, nature of how things go. The biggest challenge, I think, is boy, you stumped me. Not too many people can stump me. I think, I guess second guessing yourself. You know, sometimes I'll see something, I'll have a role come through, and my instincts have always been good, and I should always trust them. But sometimes I'll go through periods, and we all do this. So we go through periods of second guessing ourselves and not being confident in ourselves. And my biggest enemy is if all of a sudden I lose confidence. If a few roles have gone by the wayside, or things just aren't clicking, and but my manager always says, "Hey, man, just keep doing what you're doing. You're good at what you do. You know what you're doing. It's just, you know, it's not your role. It's not your time." But it doesn't bother me as much anymore. But I think, in general, I think the lack of confidence, you can go down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest. Otherwise, I just do what I do and have fun. What amazes me most, and Rob Paulson and I were talking about this, is that someone says yes, and they hire you, and you're in this room with all these amazing people. You think, what am I doing here? You know, that really, and that's important. You never, ever, ever take it for granted that you're in that room. So yeah, that's some good advice. But yeah, confidence, that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't take rejection personally. I find that's very difficult to...
Oh, yeah. It's terribly, because it's not about you as a person. It's just...
it's the job.
That's the way it is. That's the business. You know, that's the thing. You just have to keep doing what you're doing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's hard to face early on in your career, but once you do it so many times, that kind of, you know... once I do an audition, I forget about it, like you said, you know, until they call me.
Yeah, you have to, because otherwise it'll drive you nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming voiceover projects you can talk about? Anything upcoming?
Of course, there's a bunch that I can't talk about. But I mean, Trolls is still going on Netflix, and now that's so much fun. That's still the series. Kids love that, and I play King Pepe, and it's such a fun role to do, and I love his giant mustache and his hair. It's awesome. Dr. Seuss. I play a bunch of characters in a Dr. Seuss Netflix. Green Eggs and Ham. Was executive produced by Ellen DeGeneres and her team. That was an honor to be involved in that. That's out there. There's a ton of different roles I've done in that first. And let's see here. A couple of big announcements probably forthcoming. I think we're just going to have to hang on for a while here and all stay healthy and ride this thing out and do our part. I don't think there's any major announcements will probably be made for at least a few months. We have to sort of everybody's mind is on what right now.
Yeah.
Trying to stay positive. Let's see. What can I talk about? Still doing Marvel's Avengers is still out there in all its forms, and really enjoy playing Jarvis and then Vision, who becomes Vision, and then Baron von Zemo. One of my favorite moments last year was before Stan Lee passed away. I was able to work with Stan and Mark Hamill at an Avengers record, and that was just mind blowing to be there that day and doing scenes with them. That's Baron von Zemo. Mm-hmm. You can't kill me. I cannot be killed. But that was great. That was great. What else? There's a bunch of different stuff. There's like movie trailers that's out there right now. There's a lot of things on hold, as you know.
Yeah.
So what else is ongoing that I can? Damn, you're asking too many good questions. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, yes, you're a good interviewer, Trey. Let me see. What else is going on? There's an audiobook I just finished. It's called Misfire. That's coming. I don't do a lot of audiobooks just because the time involved. Mm-hmm. I'm sort of in here doing, promos and network promos for doing Prodigal Son for Fox and trailer reads and commercials. It's sort of in an animation sessions. I have a couple sessions this week of things that obviously I can't talk about, but everybody's doing their sessions from a home studio, and I'm lucky I'm fully set up here and do most of my work from the studio here at home. Mm-hmm. So that's a weird thing. I also don't forget Young Justice, and it's an honor to be playing Vandal Savage.
Oh yeah.
And he's just one of my favorites. Miguel Ferrer voiced him, and when Miguel passed away, of course, I had my manager knew that I could do a half decent Miguel, and not knowing I'd be called in for that sort of thing, they brought me in to read for this iconic character. This DC character is just freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. And I was really nervous about doing Vandal, not just because he's such an iconic character, but also because Miguel Ferrer had voiced him, and Miguel was incredible. So there's a lot of pressure, and we were all at a rap party for the first season or whatever, the last season, and the episodes played, and I got a lot of great comments from the producer, and I go, wow, because it was really tough to hear my voice in that character. There's a certain timbre, and it comes from the back of your throat. He doesn't do much. He's sort of down in here, mm-hmm. And I was able to, and Vandal's so fun. So that you can binge watch. That's a binge watch worthy series, man. That Young Justice, and you'll see me in there as Vandal. and yeah, there's more coming from that. I hope.